Hello,
Hi
everyone.
guys,
Hello.
thanks for coming earlier. Hi Ken. Well, we are not starting yet because it's not time. We still got about 5 minutes for everybody to come, and we will start on time. And when everybody's going to connect, then Ken will do the introduction, and I will proceed with the technical stuff. Thanks.
Thanks. Good afternoon, everyone. How's everyone doing? Wanted to thank everyone to attending our episode 2 useful hacking series on how to steal credentials and prevent it. We're excited to have Paula Yanushkevich here to present our continuing series that's going to be happening every month. And I think this is going to be a new thing that I think a lot of great feedback has been occurring, and we definitely feel that everyone's going to be enjoying this. So, Paula, take it away.
Yeah, thanks so much. By the way, I really appreciate that you pronounced my last name correctly. It was actually correct. So yeah, let's move forward. Basically, we're gonna do the useful hacking series, where this is an episode 2, where we're gonna talk about how to steal credentials and how to prevent it. Well, as you see, this is our step number 2. We run it monthly, as Ken mentioned. But before we proceed, just a couple of words, not to take too much of your time. We are also running the training in New York. If you would like to attend, we are, of course, happy to see you there, especially because the view from our office is really amazing. Some people can confirm that, so we hope to see you there. Well, anyhow, let's start. So I will run my presentation here. As you could see, in the meantime, I was preparing myself as well. We've got a lot of different kinds of virtual machines to be engaged, so let's move forward. As you see, my name is Paula, and I am the person who set up the company that is called Secure. It's a group of security geeks, security consultants as well, that most of us have access to the source code of Windows, and basically we do penetration tests, but also different kinds of aspects if it's about the configuration reviews or consultancy in security fields and also in any other fields. Regardless, of course, I'm a technical person. You will see that if you did not see me presenting before, but just a couple of things about my background. I am a penetration tester. I do such penetration tests too. As you can see here, I was also rated #1 Ignite speaker. I like to actually mention this because that also shows how much we share our passion in a team in general. It's just not just myself, and it doesn't mean that I'm a good speaker. It means that we've got a lot of interesting subjects to talk about. So this is pretty nice. Okay, so let's move forward. A couple of things we're going to talk about regarding the credential test, because if you ever attended Useful Hacking series, just a couple of words for explanation. What is this? These are like very short series, very short like webinars. Well, maybe not very short because they can last 45 minutes even so, or 1 hour, but these are the webinars about like one subject. So if you got some questions about around the passy hash or credential theft, because it's not only passy hash that we're going to talk about, please go ahead and just put them in the question field or on a chat, and I'm super happy to handle them at the end of the seminar. So this is the case. If you, of course, expect on this presentation the broad coverage of different things, This is more like on a different presentation. This one is just like one tiny little thing, useful hacking series, bang, one subject, you take your coffee, you drink it, and then we move further. Okay, Ken will handle the questions. So if you are there, Ken, on the line, and I'm sure you are, please make sure that everybody is happy at the end. And if there is some questions that you can pass to me during the presentation, just speak out, and then we will handle it. Okay. So let's move forward. Regarding, of course, our subjects, I have to mention one thing, and that this useful hacking series is a part of something that we call Secure Academy. It's our certification program, and of course, it's geeky and technical and security related and so on. So if you are interested, let us know. But technically, it's a hardcore program for education. Let's move forward. Tools, yes? Nobody leaves the sessions that I deliver with empty hands, so you can check out our website where you will find the tools. Please be careful because not every single tool is safe. I have to mention it every single time since technically we have published a tiny little malware there. It was an educational malware. Everybody knew it was malware, that you're not supposed to click on the malware and you run it in the production environment, and unfortunately there's a lot of people that are still doing that, and we can see that because we've got this communication to our server happening. Nothing dangerous, it's just a like tiny little fun, so to say, but everybody knows that this is a malware because it's even called malware, and it has something that you need to recognize when you will be playing with tools, which is raccoon icon. When you're going to see the raccoon icon, this is a bad tool. Of course, you can use it for fun, to do the analysis, to educate yourself about that, and so on, but it's definitely not good. The rest is good. Yeah, so this is the case. In case of any questions, you can always drop me an email, and I will be happy to answer, or Twitter. So these are the tools. Additional tools that we have and then the ones that we're going to be using today, it's Benjamin Delpy's Mimikatz, but as you probably know, our team is contributing Mimikatz a little bit, especially we have a very special edition of the data protection API discovery that we made, and well, as far as I know, we were the only one that we discovered that, so our version of Mimikatz, for example, it's not discovered by antivirus. If you wish to have one, then let us know, and then we're happy to send it to you, because we try to rather not to publish it on a website and so on. Okay, lovely. So this is the case, and agenda. Let's move forward. We've got passwords idea, pass the hash, other issues, and the bright side. Yeah, so very simple agenda. So at the very beginning, let's talk about things that are related with potential points of entry. Yes, it's a small theoretical slide, but it's actually a pretty good slide where you can see how someone can get access to the infrastructure. Yeah? So right now, pass the hash is a popular subject, which we will also discuss a little bit. If you don't know, then we're going to cover that, but we will also cover the mitigation for it. Yes, but there are also a couple of other places where you can find the credentials. Yes, the credentials can be, for example, in some configurations of some applications in the service accounts. They can be in IIS. You can find them in the application pool identities and so on, in the XML files that correspond with the different types of applications. There's plenty of places where we can find some kind of a credentials. Not necessarily in a clear text. You can have a username and some kind of a hash, maybe encrypted value, and so on. Yeah, so these are the things that we are talking about. If you got a moment, maybe later, then you can take this slide and analyze it, and of course verify what are the points of entry. But of course, these are not everything. This isn't everything, because we can also get access to the passwords by different types of users' applications, which could not be obviously mentioned here. Okay, let's move further. So when we think about different types of credentials, we do have something that we call an empty hash. And I have to call it this way, even though everybody calls it a hash, but we should call it empty hash, which is a technical correct term for it. And that empty hash can be stored in many different places in the operating system. Anti-hash, it's nothing but MD4 function. Yeah, so it's a shortcut function, MD4 hashing function. Some people think it's MD5. It's definitely not. It's MD4. If you will calculate it, you're gonna see. Okay, but it's a special version of MD4. Technically, you need to check it out. But taking that into consideration and taking into consideration anti-hash, we do have a couple of places where those can be stored. One of those places it's sound database, which is local. Everybody knows that. This is how you locally authenticate. Then we also have the LSAS process, so Local Security Authority subsystem, where you are able to find not only, of course, in its memory, the anti-hash, but also, for example, a plain text password, which I'm going to be talking about too. But of course, in this particular table, you see something there's called LM hash. LM hash is nothing but a LAN manager. I really hope you don't use that. If you do, how can you know that you do? There are a couple of ways. I will show you how to check for that. This is also a very good technique if you want to check if, for example, people in your organizations are reusing passwords. So let's say administrators, they have like 3 different types of accounts. Do they have different passwords? I can tell you that our experience is actually very simple. Quite often it happens that some of the administrator has. Yeah, so there's a user account for regular work and an administrative account, and there's also some help desk account and so on. And they sometimes share passwords with each other. So this is something that you can find out. I'm saying LM hash, it's not very good and hope you don't use that, because in order to crack it, it's actually very, very simple, and it's an, so to say, obsolete method to manage credentials in current times. And technically it takes minutes, maybe seconds sometimes to crack them. Sometimes maybe longer, depends on the password complexity. But in general, we are cracking here the 7-character blocks. Yeah, so this is your password is divided into those. So it cannot be good because the rainbow tables, we have them already pre-generated for the 7-character block, and that's the problem. In order to find out, we will need to analyze ntds.dit, which I'll show you how to do this. Okay, and we've got also like Active Directory database, so ntds.dit, which stores anti-hashes exactly. And we've got Credential Manager, that is one of the authentication mechanisms used in Windows. And it's not too bad, though. We do have plain text password there too. They are encrypted. We're able, of course, to get that password if the user decides to save the password. Yeah, so this is in order to authenticate to different kinds of applications and so on. And you are able to take this password out too. If it's about the LSA secrets, yes, then we do have, of course, reversibly encrypted passwords for, as you have seen in the table, because it's not much different with what I'm saying, service accounts passwords and the scheduled tasks, which are the two special types of authentications that is used by Windows. Yes, logon as a service and logon as a bad job. And in order, obviously, to use this authentication, there is this mechanism that is relying on LSA secrets that is, of course, saving those passwords in a registry. And how to find them out, I will show you. And of course, there is a security hive where we are actually storing something that is called cached credentials. And cached credentials, I think we're going to run a separate useful hacking series episode about that, because cached credentials, it's one of those names that we don't really like in our team, because these are not really credentials that are cached over there. Like, but everybody says cached credentials, is it safe or not, and so on. No, definitely it's okay. You can store them, but there's a couple of things that you should be aware about, and this is something that we made a discovery for, as I mentioned. And it can be really dangerous in certain situations, but in general it's safe. Okay, hopefully it sounds quite intriguing right now, but let's move forward. Okay, guys. So the first place, when we are, of course, discussing the passwords, let's start from the very convenient place. The first place here, it is well, services console. Yeah. So let's start that. We're gonna start from the easy point. So right now I will just sort the services by its description, and as you can see I have here different types of services. One is test 1, service AC, and let's say Polar service. The difference in between these three is that test 1 runs on Freddy Krueger's account, while service AC runs on the very special account, which is, if you have a look closer, there is a test $. This is the GMSA, as Group Managed Service Accounts. If you already know this, it's perfect, but this is very important to repeat over and over again, because I can tell you what is our practice. It rarely happens that we see GMSAs actually used in the organizations. So I don't know why. Maybe it's because Microsoft is not really talking about it loudly, or it's such an easy mechanism that, on the other hand, some people are like, we will not talk about that because it's easy. But it's definitely worth implementing. Because they will prevent what I will show you in a moment right now. So in order to grab the password of Freddy here, or administrator, but let's just keep it maybe for later, we've got secure Freddy Krueger. There are some dots. This is actually quite funny because, of course, like this is just a graphics. Yes, it's not. It doesn't represent anything here, but we can, of course, do the small research where the data is saved in the registry if we want to. Yes. So technically, question is, of course, where the password is saved, and we could like shorten this presentation and just assume that this password is in a registry and I would like to show you the key and so on. But why should we do that if I just want to show you the mechanism, how we are able to check where the password is saved? So for that I'm going to use Procmon, and in our team we have our internal joke that if you were like bored, which technically never happens, but let's say if you think that I would like to do something interesting, but I don't know what to do, like what should I start with and so on, answer is start with Procmon. Yes, and it's a kind of a joke because from Procmon you always get some inspiration for something, to check something, to verify, and so on. So this is the case. Now, what I did, I have created, as you see, the filter. You technically do it like this. Yeah. So you go here, you choose the category, and to choose the option, and I choose the category is, so relation, right, as you see. So I'm searching for everything that is writing something somewhere, which is an absolutely useful filter, even though it sounds very simple. But think about it, because whenever you do any kind of change of anything, your operating system writes to the event log, your NTFS journal is written to, and a couple of other things, there's a lot of different types of write operations. Maybe you would like to know what kind of mechanisms ever they write on your drive. So let's do OK in order to start monitoring. So right now what I see, and I've gathered 40 or 50 or 60, almost 1,000 events where I'm filtering out all of those where things are written to. So what I will do right now, I'm just going to take the service and I'm going to like specify the password of Freddy. Yes, it can be something like that. Of course, you don't see. You will see in a moment. Okay, we can do apply. Great, great. So I just put there something, and if you verify, of course, like all the different things in the log, then the question is, are we able, of course, to see what actually happened? Let me check, of course. Because right now, and this is quite interesting, I don't see. Oh, this is actually quite funny. I don't see that kind of search. Let me check. I stopped monitoring so that we don't get more information and so on. And let me see what else I might have filtered out. Explore. Take this out. Because there's a service to DXE, that makes sense. Okay, let's see. Else as we're gonna also like remove from the filter. And let's see. Yes, this could be a little bit better. Let me see. We see, of course, here different types of processes that are writing stuff to the registry. well, but it kind of doesn't come out. I'm wondering why. Let me see. Okay, I'm going to just reset the filter because it might be some monitoring category is right. And let's do that. Some monitoring from the past, and then we're just going to move forward. Yes. Okay. Let's see. This is funny because we should see that, and actually for that it did not pop up. Well, anyhow, we will figure that out. Okay. Anyway. No. Actually, I see it here. Here we go. Oof. So we've got local security after the subsystem. Yes. And as you see, there's a plenty of different types of writing that we have, and we've got a rec set value, and this is this local machine security policy secret as ctest1 current value default. And if we click, then of course you can go details. There's the data. You can see, of course, what's the process about, but it's not very exciting. It's just a local security system. But there's a data that's related with that operation. Yes. So could we decode that data? Well, we're going to do that, but we're going to do it in a quite geeky way because we need to get the keys from the lsass.exe. So here, as you can see, we've got that value in the registry. Yes, you can always like right-click and do the jump to, and like it goes to the computer. Question is, of course, why is that? Well, answer is very simple, because in order to be able to get access to that place, you need to be a local system. And here I am just an administrator. So in order to jump there, I need to elevate myself. So let's go there to, of course, local system, which I'm going to use the psexec for. So psexec sid cmd.exe. Here we go. And if we check, we are, of course, and the authority system. And at that certain moment, we need to do rec edit. And here we can go, of course, to our test1, which is exactly our key, but this time we can actually enter it. And that's the place, of course, where the password is stored. Now, when we go to the current value, or any value to be sincere, that's what you see. I mean, it's obviously not what I typed. So the question is, how can we decrypt it? When in this particular scenario, these passwords here, these are called LSA secrets. So in order to get access to them, as you see, we have to be local system and be able to use local system secrets. So yes, you could take this value and analyze it many times and process it many times in order to get the password out, but why should we do that if we just get a tool? And the tool that I'm going to use, it's called SIPD. We have also the CQ Secrets Dumper tool. It's available on our website. So SAPD2. SAPD is actually very tiny, and it just gives you one tiny little thing, which is password. CQ Secrets Dumper, like as I've read it, it's actually the password, the tool that you can use for dumping much more different types of secrets. So if you choose, yes, I will just use the SAPD. As simple as it is. This is a tool that is written by our developer Michael, and I will create here, and I'll put here the same name as we had in a secrets. Yes, so this was the sc_test1. Test1. Here we go. Bang. And if you are wondering what was the password, it's this one. Yes, just these dots. It's a separator, so you don't take that into consideration. Yes, and we could be like, of course, this is simple. We all know that it's possible to get the passwords out. Exactly. My point for that is actually one very important. It's great that we know, but what is also very important is that we should fully understand what is happening underneath, where this password is, like, does it really matter that it's there, like when we change the account, and a couple of things like this. Now, have a look. What I did, I have created GMSA, Group Managed Service Account. You do that very easily because you can do that with PowerShell. So let me go to the PowerShell. This is just my profile file. Yeah, come on. I will just do the full screen. Here we go. And simply speaking, the command is, well, new, and then we've got AD service account, I just need to tab it. Here we go. And for that, you specify the certain name. And the name can be, for example, account 1. And of course, you specify for that DNS name as one of the parameters. Chuck, come on, come on, come on. No, no, just no. Let me see. DNS hostname, here we go. And then, well, we're going to run it on WS 2012 DC secure.tech, for example. And then we got it a very, very funny parameter, which is called principals allowed to retrieve managed passwords. And then you specify the machine names that are that you plan to run those accounts on. Yes, if you want, we are happy to arrange the super duper detailed session about GMSAs and everything about them. If you are interested, just post the information on the Twitter, let us know, and then we're gonna prepare the useful hacking series only about that part. So we've got WS 2012-DC. I can put it even differently, $, and then I've got I've got an account like this. I can of course specify, let's say account 2, for example, and I have this account of course created. Yes, so this is the case. Now, question is that if I do have this test 1 thing, can I change that particular account? Yes, here. And can I specify our account 2, yes, $, and run the service just like this on this account? Yes, sure, I can do that. This service account has been granted a privilege to log on as a service, which is not natural. And interesting part here is it possible still to get the password? And as you see, it is. So this is also something to take care about, that when you change the account from the one that shows you the password, so it could be SQL Server, services accounts, and stuff like that, you plan to change it to GMSA. This is all great, but please do not forget about removing information from the registry if it's left there. And now you know where it's at. And then what we simply speaking do, we've got this test 1 thing. We can always like delete it because we don't use that password anymore. And as you see, we do not have the password again in the registry. Yes, so something additional on the top of service passwords and service accounts. So hopefully this is interesting. Ken, I hope you are monitoring if there are some interesting questions or any questions. So if Ken, you could of course tell me is there something that I should answer within the seminar, let me know. If not, then I will answer them all at the end of the seminar. So thanks so much, guys. If you got some questions, please feel free to ask them. Okay, so let's move forward. So these were the service accounts. Now, question is, what about the situation in, for example, IIS? Yes, IIS is pretty interesting place where we can have different types of credentials that someone can actually steal it. And we are able to steal the credentials in 2 places. One of the places is, let me expand that, application pools, where, as you can see, we've got application pool and we've got a Freddy Krueger. And another place where we can store steal the credentials from, these are, well, we can just go to any of the websites and connection strings. Yes, this kind of error, it's intended, don't worry. It says that configuration section encryption is not supported. It's the IIS friendliness. Yes, IIS is very friendly. You see that encryption, which was there, it's not supported, so they are supposed to display as an error. Well, very strange, but okay, let's have a look why this error appears, because I have applied some encryption. Okay, but how to do that? Let's start with the application pools. So that a particular username and password, when we go to the advanced settings, in the process model, you can see that there is a secure Freddy Krueger. Unfortunately, if you do set, it asks you for the username and some kind of a password, and you confirm the password. Yes, as you see, the amount of dots is exactly as I type. Yes, it's just a GUI again, but remembering the fact that IIS is just, yes, a service or 2 services, and so World Wide Web Publishing Service and Windows Process Activation Service, and the configuration files, like application host config, then, well, we could be like, does it mean that the password in the application host config is going to be in like a text? Like, will this be encrypted or not? Well, simply speaking, when you have the application host config and you have a account configured like this, password is encrypted, yes? And well, of course, we can check that and we can verify that. So let's do that. We will go very quickly to system32, inet srv, and then we will go to config, yes, and notepad application host config, yes, and we're gonna search for Freddy Krueger. Oh, I just Control Z, okay, and then Freddy. And as you can see, here is the password, yes. So we've got an encryption, IS, Windows Activation Service, only AS, so it's a symmetric cryptography provider, and we can spot that. And that password is not a password, of course, it's just an encrypted string, yes, but it's not very difficult by knowing the provider and being on this server to be able to decrypt this password. How to do that? Well, we need to be talking to the servers directly, and in order to do that, if you do appcmd, which is a tool that is used by the IIS, and then you do list up pool, many piece, up pool, and you have to specify, of course, a certain application pool, which we can check here. It's up one, so let's do that. Here we go. And you need to do, like, if you just do this, it's just going to display you basic information about application pool. But if you do /text and asterisk, then it tells you every single thing about that application pool, including, guys, if you see, of course, we can see the secure Freddy Krueger and password. Yeah, so this is the way. Now, can we secure that? Well, sure. Do not let people be administrators on your web server. Yep, that's the answer. And that's pretty much it. But there are also a couple of other things that we can secure that are pretty interesting here. Okay, question is, of course, who can list and decrypted settings, yes? The one who can read here the application host config and the one that can talk to services, which is an administrator here. So of course, you decide. It's more on you, it's not on IIS. Okay, but what about, for example, the application's connection strings, yes? So as you see, there is some kind of configuration section that's not supported and so on, because something is encrypted. Okay, let's have a look. We here, by the way, immediately, if we like click on connection strings, have here information, where is it? So IIS websites, ACME web config. Let's do that. So we've got this, IIS website, ACME, and our web config. And as you can clearly see, that truly there is some kind of encrypted data. And there is a provider that is called Data Protection Configuration Provider, also another beautiful name. And that's the one that actually encrypted those connection strings, or these connection strings. So question is how we are able to decrypt it. And is it a good technique to encrypt them or not? Well, that depends really, where do you store your web configs? How do you manage web configs? Because in web config, by default, through connection strings, the passwords are stored in a clear text. So in order to decrypt it, for example, if you want to see what's the password, so steal those credentials, you need to go to the following place. Let me clear it out. This place is Windows, Microsoft.NET. You pick appropriate framework and appropriate version, and we're ready. And there is a tool that some people love or hate. That depends on the situation. ASP.NET_REC_IIS. And this guy can, when we just go enter, I just run it with the default settings. You can see that we've got a encryption and decryption. Yeah, so these are these two things. A config of the configuration section. So we can just do that and then specify PDF, so to decrypt what? Configuration section, connection strings. By the way, be careful because it's case sensitive. And we're able to specify, of course, the path. So let me do that. Here we can just copy this one actually, because you give the path to the folder, not to the web config. Bound. And as you see, decryption succeeded. Okay, so let's see how does it work right now. So we can spot that, and as you see right now, there is a connection string, server, database master, user ID, SA. Well, of course, it's a very bad example, but you can see that it is actually in a clear text. So that can be managed. Yes, of course, to encrypt it, it's a reverted operation, the same type of operation, but you use the PEF, and you need to specify the provider, which is a data protection configuration provider. And everything is clear in the tools help. Okay, guys. So this is the situation. Now, let's move forward to another interesting situation, which is related, of course, with the pasty hash and the pasty hash mitigation. Yes, in order to do that, just a couple of things in order to explain the situation, like what does it mean to do the pasty hash and so on. Yes, so in Windows, so to say, we have the possibility, and that's what we do, we manage credentials in many different ways. Yes, for example, we can have a Kerberos ticket. For example, we can have a user's hash, user's password, and so on. And local security authority subsystem stores them all in the memory in order to provide you comfort, in order to provide you the possibility to, when you want to log on, for example, to some network share, then you are authenticated instead of like every single time you do that, you have to specify the credentials. Yes. So in the domain, it works, of course, in cooperation with the different types of Kerberos tickets. And local security authority subsystem, when you have access to its memory, you are able to extract those credentials. And now, like how? If someone logs on remotely, can I do that? Sure, you can. If someone logs on locally, can I do that? Sure, definitely you can. If, for example, someone is logged on and you do the memory dump, can I get the credentials out of there? Sure, definitely you can. If I do have a hibernation turned on, please don't turn them on if you do not have low-level encryption, like BitLocker implemented. If you don't, and you have a hibernation, if someone steals your laptop, then you will be, of course, having some issues, because this person will be able to extract credentials from the hibernation file. Yes, so all of those situations are not very, so to say, convenient, especially when you have a company and you are an administrator and you are managing the workstation. So technically, you log on as an administrator to the workstation, and then if the user has appropriate privileges, then you will be able, of course, to perform, well, to lose your credentials, and the user will be able to perform the credential grabbing. So what's the point? Single sign-on, as explained, it's just for our comfort. Now, the case with Windows is that we have different types of methods, yes, that are used with single sign-on. In 2014, by the way, there was a patch issued that allows you to remove the W-digest from the operating system's memory. Some people say it's a mitigation for the pasty hash. No, it's definitely not. It's a small step, but it's still a positive step that Microsoft made in order to prevent such. Yes, and of course in Windows 10 there's a tiny little mitigation implemented. We're going to talk about that too. Okay, so we've got a different methods in order to authenticate. So whenever we have a look at that, we've got the single sign-on and the single sign-on in Windows. Whenever, of course, there is someone, let's say Sue, that we have on the left side, and that's the help desk PC. Of course, we've got the situation where we log on, then hacker or whoever gets the Sue's the username, and eventually could be a password, can be hash, whatever, and then this person can hop further to some other laptops in order, of course, to steal the credentials, to get the credentials from the memory. Now, question is, of course, how does it work? Is it popular? Well, definitely, pasty hash is definitely popular. When we have a look at the different types of news that are in the press and so on, what we see are continuously repeating information about well, pasty hash happened, and there's a big chance, pretty much 100%, that pasty hash will participate in the attack when it's going to be happening. So this is the scenario. Whenever we think about pasty hash, how it works, and everything related with that, here the technique is actually very simple. First of all, we've got a user on the left side. User can run some kind of a malware, or it can be that administrator logs onto the user computer, and if Sue comes in, Sue logs on to the laptop that is infected with that malware or malicious user, and then of course the credentials are grabbed, and then you are able to perform the pasty hash further. End of talking. Let's start the technical demonstration, and then we're going to talk about different types of mitigations. And let's make it super duper useful so that you can have a lot of takeaways, and you can finally, if you are not yet there, prevent the pasty hash technique. Okay, very good. So, pasty hash. So, whenever, of course, we've got a certain user. So here, let me actually do this. I will log on here. I will switch an account, or I can just log off. That's no problem. And I will log off from the administrative account or not. It doesn't really matter here. And I will be logged on as a local user. So here comes the thing. What I will do, first of all, let's say I'm a user and I manage somehow to get the local administrator's credentials. We could be wondering, like, oh, in our company, this is not possible because the users, they are not administrators. Okay, got it. I know it's not a sexy start that you have to be an administrator to do that, but unfortunately you do, and I will explain you why in a moment, because that comes from a very special technical issue. And of course, if your users are not administrators, that's great, but please remember about the offline protection. So, in order so that they cannot get access offline to the machine, which I was showing on a previous Useful Hacking Series episode 1, which of course recording will be available very, very soon. So, so we've got the situation with the workstation. Now, the local user or local administrator, whoever the user is, local administrator, question is, what makes this person to access credentials? And I can tell you very one thing. For the fact that I can, for example, create a dump file, as you see right now, access is denied. Why access is denied? Because I have secured this machine in a certain way. I have removed the privilege, yes, of the certain, from the current users, actually from everybody, and this privilege gave me the possibility to be able to play with the local security as a subsystem. Now, let me show you something. I will start the console as an administrator, which I can do that. And what I will do, I will run the Mimikatz, as you see. This is actually our secure edition, very, very unique. That can do a couple of things more. And what I will do is to get the privilege debug, so the debug privilege, so to say. And now there's an error. So this is strange, because I have started this console as an administrator, but that doesn't work. Sure, because in this machine, I have removed the debug privilege. First learning point. How do we do that? Secpol MSC. Okay, let's see. Local policies, user rights assignment, debug programs, and as you see, there's nobody. We could be wondering, okay, is it safe to do that? Well, sure, we need to know what's that, yes? So let's have a small reading. This user rights determines which users can attach a debugger to any process or to the kernel, which is actually quite funny. Any process or to the kernel. Kernel is a process, yes, in a way. So, okay. But attach a debugger to the process or to the kernel. Like, how many times you do attach a debugger to the process? Yes, if you do this on a web server in order to analyze what's happening in the worker process, then turn this privilege on. If you don't do that on a workstation, and I can tell you you don't, if it's just a regular workstation, if you don't have any developer analyzing processes, not writing applications, not debugging any applications, but debugging the processes, this is absolutely not needed. Yes, but by default, it's turned on. So this is one of the steps. It's not the only step. It's a step that cooperates with many other steps, but this is definitely an important step. Now, when we have a look at the situation, okay, so how am I able to steal the credentials, even though I'm the administrator, but I cannot, yes? Well, for everything, there is a solution, of course. So what I will do, I will elevate myself, and I will use, let me just go to tools, psexec minus SID, as we did at the very beginning of the presentation. So we are getting to the local system right now. Bottom, who am I? We are a local system. And we go one more time to Mimikatz. We launch it. Now, we don't actually have to do that privilege debug, because by default, the debug privilege is enabled for the local system. But just to show you the difference, yes? Privilege, debug, okay. Yes, so that's the difference. We might be wondering, like, okay, why do we do that if administrator can elevate to the local system? Well, there are a couple of ways to prevent that, definitely. But this is one of the bars that have been raised here. And as I said, it's not the only solution that can be working here. It's a part of the total solution. So let's find out what is the total solution at the end. Yes, because for example, you at the very beginning you can make sure that your users will not be local administrators. Now, if there's any kind of vulnerability or anything that allows, for example, to perform the memory dump and stuff like that, then this is one of these bars that are raised here, and users will not be able to do the memory dump of the process, and so on and so on. Okay, let's have a look. If we do, of course, secure LSA, logon passwords, we get what is in the memory, yes, and this is the known case. And of course, we can spot that if there is a domain admin logged on, then you got his credentials. But what if it's not? Well, then you don't. But what can we do? Well, we can, at that certain point, do the pass the hash in order to grab them locally. Let's do that. So what I will do, let me go to tools. There is a tool that we wrote. It's called CQ Hashstamp version 2. And you use it and you run it as a local system, very important. That comes from the situation that in order to get access to the local hashes database, so SAM database, you need to have the SAM database system and Security Hive access. And in order to get access to Security Hive, you need to be local system. So I hope this is clear. Now, SAM dump, and you got different types of hashes. Yes, one of them. So this is this empty hash that I was talking about. It's the administrator, yes, which I have. So I will just enter, like use this. So let's clear it. And in Mimikatz, I will do pass the hash in order to, for example, check workstations, servers. Is the local administrator password the same everywhere? If it is, then we get a problem, because probably somewhere on the servers or workstations, there's going to be a local or domain admin or any other server admin, infrastructure admin, helpdesk admin logged on, so that we can steal those credentials and move forward. So let's see. So secure edition one more time, Mimikatz, and we're going to do secure LSA, PTH for the passing hash, user, and then we're going to specify administrator, and then domain. I don't know the domain because it's not a domain account. So localhost. And also, we're going to use for that NTLM. And this is the place where I do actually specify NT-hash. Enter. Good. So we have console right now opened. If you do who am I, it's a bad idea because CMD will not show you in that situation appropriate information. But if you do hostname, we see that we are on a Windows 8 client. Okay. And one more thing, of course, to show you before we proceed. Here, we can, of course, now pass the hash is ready, we can just exit. And let's go to tools. And we're going to do psexec 10, 10, 10, for example, 200. Yes, so we can do that. psexec 10, 200, cmd.exe. Yes, and we can see that access is denied. Okay, let's have a look how it's going to be with the console that is with the pass the hash. Yes, so let's go to tools, psexec. So this is the console opened with the local administrator's hash. Yeah, so local we've got that session opened. Yes, of course cmd.exe, and that takes a little moment. Let's see, of course, if we're going to succeed. If on the other side there's an administrator with the same password, then we will be able to log on. If it's not, then we can try farther. So this is the situation. Okay, now question is how do we prevent it? Yes, because this is an interesting part. As you see, we manage hostname. I am on the web server. Yeah, so this is this technology that we are describing right now. Prevention is actually pretty interesting because prevention, it can be constructed with many different solutions working all together with each other, but let's name them. So here I have attached ISO with something that Microsoft calls LAPS, LAPM, and so on. So this is the local admin password manager, and we are able to manage the local administrator passwords among the machines in a domain. How does it work? Quick implementation. First of all, we have to install it. Yeah, so this is clear. In my case, I have it already installed, but let's change it so that I can explain everything step by step. There is a GPO extension, yes, that you need to use because this is configurable through GPO. Some management tools like the FAT client. So this is a small application that you can use in order to reset passwords manually on the certain machines if you want to. There's also PowerShell module, which is important in order to install the feature, and GPO editor templates, which is also important because you need to edit the GPO. And this extension, yes, is the one that is used by the clients in order to communicate with the mechanism that you have on the domain controller to sync up different passwords per different machines of the local admins. Yes, let me show you, and I'm pretty sure everything will be clear right now. So let's, well, change it. We could do that, of course, finish. Good. So now, if let me clear it out, how to implement that? Well, we implement that with the PowerShell. Technically, I could implement it even in 3 minutes or even less, but I have to explain what's happening. So let's do that with the explanation. Let's do PowerShell. And in PowerShell, there is a module. So let's do get command. That is called ADM-PWD. Yeah, so this is the module. This is the one that we have just installed. And as you see, it has very limited, very easy list of the CMD-lets. By the way, I have to mention that our customers, they have started to implement it one by one, and this is a really ongoing thing to manage one of the biggest problems, which is password management for the local accounts. That works really nicely. Okay, let's move forward. Update PWD schema. Yes, so we have to do that. We are adding 2 new schema attributes. One is called ADM PWD expiration time, and another one is just called ADM PWD. So moving forward, when this is done, we need to set ADM PWD computer self permission, and this is the permission that it's a self, so it's relative. It adds every workstation for themselves only the possibility to update those attributes in order to update the password of the local administrator. Yeah, so we have to do that, and we specify, of course, here. Let me do that. A self computer permission. Okay, organization and unit, and then we specify the name of the organizational unit where we want to change that. It can be the whole domain, of course, or it can be like we have only that this is the organizational unit that we have. It's called PWD clients. Okay, the next step is actually also very straightforward. because you need to specify. So let's do set. So specify means set ADM PWD. Now what? Read password permission. Who in our domain can administer those machines from organizational unit PWD clients in order to be able to read the passwords, and so on. In general, to manage the machines. Okay, let's see. And we specify, of course, who can manage those. So allowed principals, and well, let's go very easy. Yes, you got the point. Here, specify the help desk group. Yes, so help or PWD help desk client group or somebody like this. Yes, so these guys can read the password of those guys from PWD clients. And another one, have a look. I'm not changing much here. Read, I'm changing to reset. And as you see, simply speaking, these guys will be able to reset the password. Now, almost done. What you need to do is, of course, to install this GPO extension on the client, but from the policy perspective, let's do that. gpmc.msc. We need to specify and link the policy. So create the GPO in this domain and link it here. Let's say labs or labm, like whatever the name is. And we're going to edit this. And in the policies, we go to administrator templates. We've got our stuff here, and we can specify here password settings, like what should it be. Like if you randomize the passwords, what should be the complexity? Large letters, small letters, numbers, special, like what's the length, how long it's valid, and so on. So let's configure that. Name of the administrative account. Yeah, so we got that. We actually in this case keep the default. And this is just an expiration time. And this one is the enable local admin password management. Of course, you need that part. Yes, of course. So these are the ones, yes. There is also this FAT client, this one, yes, that can, for example, pull the password out from the certain computer. Let me do that in a moment, yes. So we have configured this policy. Now you have to enforce it on the client. And long story short, I have it already done so that you can see how it works. If we go to the Active Directory users and computers, PWD clients, I have my client here. And if we go to the properties, yes, we can see the password, not the password application, but attribute editor. I have filtered all of the attributes that have values, and we can move forward here. And I have here the ADM PWD, and this is the password that I have right now. Yes, so this is the one, and you configure by the process that I showed you who can actually see this password. And eventually, if you want someone from help desk to manage such, like for example, help desk for human resources has issues because one of the guys in the human resources department, something happened, and they need to go and they need to check, they need to log on eventually with a local account. Well, instead of like typing the whole thing, which they can do too, they can of course specify here the different types of passwords and so on. Yeah, so we've got here the password expires. You can change the expiration time if you want to expire it, or of course you can change things here and so on. So this is the way how you are able to edit those attributes. So this is one of the very, very easy, first of all, for free ways in order to manage the basic reason or the major reason for the pasty hash on the local accounts. So hopefully this is all clear. There is also Windows 10 on the top of that comes in, and there is a solution that is called virtual safe mode. And virtual safe mode, it's quite interesting because it allows you to prevent credentials to be grabbed from the certain workstations, yes, taking into consideration Mimikatz. Yeah? So I got CQ Tools, Kiwi Secure Edition. This is Windows 10, of course, right now. And let me run Mimikatz. Let me see, full screen mode. Actually, just one tiny little change. am I, who am I /o, let me check. No, I'm not running this console as an administrator. That's quite important, so to say, in order to get what I need from the Mimikatz. Let's do that. Okay, so we've got our CQ tools and Kiwi Secure Edition and Secure. And the question is, of course, can Mimikatz in Windows 10 show all of the credentials and how the VSM is going to work out? Yeah, so privilege debug and now secure LSA, logon, passwords, the one that you already know. Okay, perfect. Let me check and what is actually shown here. And as you see, this is actually for the workstation, so maybe not. I am logged on as Freddy here. Let's see. Let's move forward. Here we go. This is the one. Yeah. So this is the place where you normally see the hash or password. Yes, and this is everything about Freddy, so to say. So this is where we start, remote interactive from 2, Freddy Krueger from the main, and so on. But by default, please be careful. By default, that doesn't work. Yes, it works only when you turn on isolation. And in order to turn on isolation, you have to not only have the UEFI/BIOS that supports that. Technically, we are talking here about the secure mode, which you have to have enabled, but also your computer must be a member of the domain, and you have to have this turned on by installing the hypervisor and enabling it in the hypervisor and enabling it as well. Let me show you in the policy. So these are the requirements for that to work, which is all amazing, but there is, of course, tiny little issue that not everybody it is possible to configure it this way. And this is in Device Guard, and then we've got turn on virtualization based security, and I have it enabled, as you see, and my Credential Guard is enabled too. You might be wondering why this works on a virtual machine, because Microsoft said that it doesn't. And of course, the solution requires TPM as well, which for virtual machine, it's not that easy. Well, I have a special trick actually to do that, to show you how it works in a virtual machine. It's not really the solution that you can use, but you can see the result, how to do that. Yes, how does it work when it works? Yes, it truly does not show the credentials because it isolates the local security authority subsystem, and it is available as a separate process, which is called LSA ISO, and our team is working on it right now. We are checking out, well, of course, you cannot get credentials from the other guy too, because it works like a separate virtual machine, yes? So it's not that easy, but let's see. Of course, it looks super good, super promising, and if everybody could have it in their infrastructure, it would be so much more, so much better right now. Lovely. So hopefully this is something that is interesting for you. Hopefully you liked everything. And if you got, guys, some questions, I'll be reviewing the question list like just right now. If you got some questions later, think about them. Paula@secure.us or Paula Secure or Secure Academy, everything. I'm online 24/8. You are too. So if you got some questions, let me know. And if you are interested in a little bit more details, please, of course, attend our workshop. It's running in New York, one of the greatest cities, and it will be a lot of fun and a lot of cool stuff happening. And in the meantime, I am checking out all the questions. Yeah, so thank you so much, guys, for your time. Really, I'm really amazed, and we really appreciate that you came and that you like security. And if you, of course, want to attend Useful Hacking Series episode number 3, which will be delivered maybe by myself, maybe by our team members. If you got some questions, post them. If you want some subjects to be covered, bring them on, because we are continuously working, learning, researching, and so on. So we are happy to answer those. Okay, question from Dustin is, are all those things recorded? Ken already answered. Thanks so much, Ken, for the support. And of course, these things are recorded, and we will be posting the recording on Secure Academy Twitter. So if you will follow it or just enter the page and so on, you will see the link with the recording. Yes. Perfect. Okay. So thank you so much, guys. Thank you, thank you. And can we get more details on running TPM on virtual machines? Question from Graham. Yes, well, as I said, I'm not running the TPM on the virtual machines. I'm really not. You cannot really do that in the current technology right now. But what I did, we got from Microsoft guys the like a registry entry that when you add it, your operating system behaves like, for the demo purpose, as if it was running the TPM, even though it's a virtual machine. So what I showed you is the experience, the feeling, but it wasn't really my workstation, and it should be that I was running it on. Yeah, so this was for you to see how it works. Yes, because it's very hard to test by yourself, for example, if you do not have a Windows 10 with all the requirements on the physical machine running, which is kind of like, meh, yes, like I need to have a laptop, do this, do that, do that. No. Just you have the flavor. Yes, that is actually really nicely working. Thank you so much, Dustin, for the positive news, and thank you so much, Oliver, for the positive comments. And I hope as well that the rest of the guys liked it. And yeah, looking forward to the next Useful Hacking Series webinar. Thanks. Have a good afternoon.
Thanks, everyone. Thanks, Paula. So, like to reiterate what Paula said, please follow us at Paula Secure and also at Secure Academy. We're going to be posting up a link for the recording of the session. And any other questions, we'll also be sending you out a survey in the next couple of days on some feedback. Any feedback is great. This is how we kind of better ourselves and better these free webinars. So please look forward to that. And if you get a chance, please answer all the survey questions. Thank you very much. And we'll be seeing you next month.
Exactly. Thanks.
Bye-bye.
Bye, guys. Thanks.